What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Courtside Culture. I'm your host, Jeremy Jeffers, and today we sit down with a man who's seen every level of basketball, from player to college coach to leader of young men and women. He was a longtime assistant coach at Barton College after previous coaching stops at North Carolina Central University, Carver Bible College, and Riverside High in Durham. A native of Boston, Massachusetts, a graduate of North Carolina Central University, he has played, coached, and served, including 4 years in the U.S. Navy Reserves. This conversation covers basketball, leadership, fatherhood, and what it means to give your life to something bigger than the game. Please welcome to the Courtside Culture, my guy, Mark Anthony Pound. What's up, dog? How you doing, man?
You did that was good. That was good. The fatherhood that
Touched the heart.
That touched me. That touched me. But thank you.
Yes, sir.
I
appreciate you coming down, man. We're gonna hop right into it, man. Tell us about from the beginning, growing up in Boston before you moved to North Carolina. What was it like for you, and when did basketball become your anchor?
Well, Boston. Of course, that's the, one of the major cities in the United States, and, Boston is known for basketball, and staying in Roxbury, Massachusetts, we're near the Boston Garden.
Yeah.
And so, Boston has.
Did you grow up, so the boys from down there, ain't he? New Edition?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know any of them?
So I did not know them, but I went to the same community center that Lavelle Moulton and all of those guys went to.
Right.
But I didn't know them. And so that was one thing that I had in common with Lavelle, because Lavelle moved to Raleigh and I moved to Durham. And so we ended up meeting up AAU.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up talking. He was like, "You from Boston?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm from there too." But yeah. So that's
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But the connection, as far as basketball, I actually, I was a small kid, so I was, playing ball on the playgrounds and things of that nature, and developing certain skills. But it wasn't until my mother had decided to move to North Carolina, and I didn't know I had certain types of skills.
Right.
My uncle, Tim Newman, who had played at Shaw University, he noticed that. And he just started taking me with him and had me, working on my shot and working on handles. But I spent a lot of time hooping with older guys.
Right.
And so that's kind of where that came from. And I was, 7 or 8 playing pickup ball with grown men.
Right.
And they weren't holding back on me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
At what age did you move to North Carolina?
I moved to North Carolina probably about 8 or 9 years
old. Cool deal. I know the weather was a lot different coming from there to here.
I remember snow.
Yeah.
I remember my father in Boston having to dig a tunnel from our porch to the street.
Yeah.
Like it was an igloo or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so yes.
Yeah, I lived in PA for a little while after I got done playing, and a snowstorm came through. I'm telling you, Coach, like, to here, and I'm tall, 6'6" now. It came to here, I was shoveling. My boss called me, and we need you to come in. What? In North Carolina, if we think we're getting snow, everything closed.
Shut it down.
So, I'm like, nah, I moved right back home probably like a month from there, man. I'm like, nah, I can't do this, bro. It's different. That cold different.
Yeah, I just experienced it.
Yeah.
Just coming from Lincoln, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, for sure. So you played at Northern and Riverside in Durham. What do you remember most about those early days on the court?
So, they hadn't built Riverside yet. They were building Riverside when I was playing at Northern. And my AAU coach, and he's also the founder of Prep Stars, Larry Parrish.
Okay.
Him and Dick DeVenzio and, Coach Drawhorn used to work at the camp.
Okay.
That's where I met Coach Drawhorn as a player.
Okay.
And so Riverside was being built. Coach Parrish, he was formerly at Southern Durham. And so I was in the mix of all of that when they built Riverside. You know, my parents and I decided to, because I was starting point guard at Northern my junior year, and but my parents decided that it would be better for me because Parrish was handling all of my like college contacts and things of that nature. We had prep stars to be at UNC Charlotte, and I was going there. I was making the All-Star team, you know, and he had guys like Jerry Stackhouse and T-Top, Rodney Rogers, and so many others, Chuck Cornegie, you know, even Roderick Rhodes was there, you know. And so I was there, Jeff Capel, I was there with those guys playing in that environment. And, you know, to have him as a high school coach, I decided to go over to Riverside and play for him because, hey, I lived across the railroad tracks and I was in the district. So
yeah, it made sense. Made sense.
Yeah.
So you started your playing career at Barton and then transferred to Piedmont Baptist College. Talk about just the transition from high school to Barton and then why you decided to leave there.
Well, first I started at Campbell.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I signed with Campbell first.
Okay.
Kind of similar to Ant.
Okay.
And that's one thing I used to talk to him about was, you know, we kind of had a similar story. But going from Campbell, actually Coach Levency and Billy Lee were, you know, Coach Levency worked for Billy Lee and they were roommates in college.
All right. Okay.
And so they had, you know, already a relationship. And so a discussion happened where, you know, I was dealing with some injuries and things of that nature. And it was better for me to kind of drop down a level, which really you wasn't dropping down a level.
Right. It was a real deal.
It was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
So I left Campbell and came to Barton. I actually got to Barton the year 94, 95-ish, like around Christmas.
Okay.
I got there and, you know, they had, you know, Kendrick and they had James Lewis, you know, and, you know, they had a squad.
Right.
You know, they had a squad.
Levency was there?
It was Coach Levency's. It was Coach Levency's second year.
I was about to say, I wonder how long he been there. How long did he coach?
Oh man, you know, you're talking like almost 30-something years.
30-something years because he just retired recently, and I saw y'all celebrated that last weekend, right?
Right. So Coach Levency knew me when I was in 9th grade. I've had a relationship with him since 9th grade.
Wow.
Coach Levency coached me. He coached my brother Sam that played with Ant.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that was your brother.
Yeah, me and my brother Sam, Sam Pounds. That's, you know, we both got a chip, you know.
Right.
And then he coached my son.
Okay.
Which was a few years ago. And so, you know, my wife graduated. My wife that passed away, she graduated from Barton College.
Okay.
And she came there because of my relationship with Coach Levency and my relationship with the school. And so it's been a family affair for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's definitely deeper.
Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. And so stepping on Barton's campus, I don't know what it is about that school. They get some beast, man. Like some of the best guard play and some of the most undersized bigs that can play bigger than, you know, what they are, you know, on the stat sheet, you know, what you might say they 6'6", but they playing like they 6'9".
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so, you know, I was on the team with Grady Farmer. You know, and Grady was one of those guys that was like that. But the competition was just so high. And there were so many guys that were coming from the CIAA and from D1 schools that they couldn't even stay in the gym with us.
Right.
As far as, you know, the level, how hard, you know, Coach Levency was pushing us to play. Actually, a legend in Wilson was the assistant coach there. You know, Charles Howard. You know, that's my
guy.
You know, that's my mentor. I talk to him, you know, probably once or twice a week. You And so he was the assistant coach there, and he also coached my brother too. And so, I feel like a Wilson guy. I don't really, Durham going to claim me, and Wilson and
Right.
Rocky Mount going to claim me because,
Right.
Wayne Pitt, who was the point guard, he was the starting point guard when I got here, and he took me to Pine Tops, and I started playing at OIC.
Yeah.
I was already playing at Reed Street.
Yeah.
But he took me, and I started playing at OIC, and now I've started playing with Reggio Rogers.
Yeah.
And all of those guys. Rod. And Rod was a beast.
Yeah.
And so I started playing against those guys, and it was like the college level of play. You could get that in the summer. You didn't have to go to the Chambers League.
Yeah.
You didn't have to lead the area.
Yeah.
Because guys were getting down, and the youngsters like you, and Jeremy, and Jeremy, Atkinson, y'all were coming up, and I was getting introduced, to you guys, watching you guys play, and that's kind of how I end up coaching, because when I left Barton, I started coaching AAU, and that's how. I was Mo DeLoach and all that. I was their AAU coach.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they played for the Carolina Crossovers. Yeah,
It's deep.
Yeah, Calvin Patterson.
Okay.
Marquez Forte.
Okay.
Was it Kevin Lee? Miguel Hilliard.
Okay.
Pierre Parker.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad all of them still claim me. But all of those guys played AAU for me because I had an idea that I could bring guys from Durham because I had seen so much talent, and guys from Wilson and Rocky Mount. I had Deion Burgess. I had
Dogs.
He was a spring hope.
Yeah.
And we went all the way to the national championship game. It was D2 AAU, but we made it to the national championship game in New Orleans, and we ended up losing, but we came in second.
Right.
And I still got that trophy with their name on it to this day.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's super dope. So, what did those college years as a player teach you about patience, preparation, and believing in yourself?
Oh man, the first thing I think about is that the bar was set so high that when I walked into practice, I didn't think I was gonna make it out of the practice. I was like, what do they have for us to do today? And can I do it? And Coach Levency, and Coach Howard, they would always tell us, say, look, if we didn't set the bar high, iron won't sharpen iron. So once I got accustomed to that, then I started believing in myself past what I could even think about. And so that's something that Coach Levency was really good at. He was able to motivate us in a way where, he didn't cuss us out. Right. But he would make you feel what he was saying.
That's what I heard.
He most definitely a tough competitor. Right. He wasn't weak by no stretch of imagination. So he taught us toughness, but he also taught us to be able to feed off of our teammates. And so all of my teammates, and if you watch those great Barton teams, all of them fed off of each other. They were really in it for each other. It was a
tight-knit group, for sure.
And so, Ant's team, they just took it up to another level. Right. They had a different level of brotherhood than any of those other teams had. You had some teams that was close to that, but me being a former player, being able to witness that team, they were different. Yeah. They were different. But everything that Coach Levency was trying to put into us, they exemplified that plus more. Right. You know how you give something to a kid and then you marvel at it because they take it and they run with it.
Right. And they become their own leaders in their own sense. So now a coach's job is really just to manage at that point in time, because you got a leader like Ant who's really like they're holding themselves accountable for certain stuff. So like it makes it a lot easier to coach those kind of players.
Prime example is those 45 seconds.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of teams would have folded.
Cause what play was called?
Right.
It was all that team, Frails,
Right.
and Bobby. It was all those guys saying we're not gonna let each other down.
Right.
And
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
So when you left Barton and went to
Piedmont.
And then you graduated, you got a degree from Central? So did you leave there, or is this a further degree after Piedmont?
So I was in the military at the time too.
Okay.
And so I went because, I got married.
Okay.
And so, I had my son on the way. So I went and I started doing the military thing. I didn't graduate from college until later.
Okay.
And so I went, Central. I wanted to always graduate from an HBCU, so I took my credits from Barton.
Gotcha.
And my brother added.
What's the purpose of that? Like, why? What's your why behind the HBCU?
Well, my purpose behind that was because I wanted to know how to be able to serve my community better. And that meant that I needed to educate myself on the how and why. And so North Carolina Central is, they taught me. I got my degree. I got a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. My mother had a business in the community, so I was able to utilize what I learned from her business in mental health and substance abuse and things of that nature. And I was able to take that to Central, and just kind of like Central allows you to be well-rounded. I could be myself. Also be myself and not expect special treatment.
Right.
And I had professors that they pushed me the same way Coach Levacy pushed me. Not that Barton didn't, but the timing of it. And I also knew that I wanted to be a college coach.
Right.
So I knew that I needed to get that degree. But Coach Levacy, he had me coaching on his staff before I even got my degree.
Wow.
He said, hey, look, you don't have your degree, you can be a volunteer coach. And so, because I didn't feel like a volunteer, he gave me the same authority as all the other coaches. I was able to go recruit. I was able to do all those things. And then once I, got my degree, then I became a paid coach and things of that nature. So that's how that went down.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. So, speaking on the military, you worn a lot of hats in your lifetime, man. So talk about the military experience, and obviously you kind of touched on why, but that's a big decision that a lot of kids nowadays, I feel like, school is not for everybody, and especially now when a lot of kids aren't getting recruited, and that's an option for certain people, but I feel like a lot of kids go down the wrong path before they make a decision like that. But like, why was that decision the right one for you?
The reason why I went to the military, of course, knowing that a son was on the way, knowing that I had a wife that was dependent on me, she had already, my whole family had already put into me. And Delaney Rudd had put into me, and I was playing ball on travel teams and trying out USBL, got cut from the D League a couple of times. When they first started the D League, was up there, on a roster in the CBA Idaho Stampede. So I was just everywhere, trying to carry that basketball dream, trying to exhaust it to the end. And, I just got to the point where I was like, okay, a lot of people were believing in me, but I was like, okay, I got to make some money.
Right.
Because this is costing me a lot of money. And, and the teams that you were getting on certain travel teams or certain semi-pro teams and playing on those teams, but those weren't paying the bills. It was
Right.
kind of like, an arena football player, they got to have a job.
Right.
Even though they playing on TV,
Right.
even though they playing with former NBA players and things of that nature, you still got to make your bread. So I always wanted to be in the Navy. And so I went and talked to a few of my cousins that were in the military, and they told me, what I needed to do, and took me to the the recruiters, and they knew I was a athlete, a former
Right.
athlete, and I did everything possible and went in. And my experience was that I have a whole set of supports,
Right.
and what the military taught me was that being from Durham and being from Boston and being in Rocky Mount and being in Wilson, you could be rough around the edges a little bit, even as a grown man. Being a competitor.
Right.
You could be kind of, a little much.
Right.
And so the military taught me how to be disciplined, how to channel that discipline to where you can get the greatest result.
Right.
And I think that's where I became a great mentor and a good coach, and able to talk to people, because I could meet people where they are and stick with them. Because in the military you got to be in the dirt with everybody.
Right.
You gonna get your hands dirty.
Right.
And so and then also just learning about all the nuances of what our military does. What really intrigued me was the humanitarian efforts. And so I was able to partake in some of those humanitarian efforts where they're flying in, dropping off the food, and they're going and making sure if there's a flood, you going and making sure the people are getting
Right.
out of their homes. I was able to take part in those things, and it made you count your blessings and things of that
for
nature.
sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking on your semi-pro,
Rough.
what was that stretch of your career like, and what did it teach you about perseverance and passion?
Oh, man.
And that was before the military.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That gets real, man. I've been there, just to let you vent about it. Every player goes through that stretch, and it's just really hard to, like, if you ain't borderline NBA, it's really, really tough. Politically wise.
Yeah, my first agent name was John Jordan. What's up, John? He good people. He started the XBA. Remember the XBA that was up there in the mountains? Yeah, he started that.
Okay.
John, that was my first agent. And then later on, I got with Delaney Rudd. He had Dreams in Motion. And that was better for me. But I remember me, Oshua Benjamin, Jeremy Hyatt. I remember all of us, in training camps.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, man, I was at Barton. I wasn't even the best player at Barton. But, it just mattered what your skill set is. And I remember being in those camps with them and saying, hey, I can compete with ACC guys. I can compete, and they're respecting me, and I'm respecting them as far as your level of game and your level of dedication to it. And it was an eye-opener. It really showed, like, how many players from different walks of life, from different levels, are all trying to go after the same thing.
Right.
And what you was going after, it was kind of like an anomaly if you got it,
right.
if you
To
obtained
keep
it.
Right.
And so the first couple of camps, I was in camp in Minnesota, I was in camp in New York. My parents and whole family went with me to, we had a training camp on Georgia Tech's floor. And I remember I showed out that day. And you had, pro scouts from Europe and everything asked, like, who is this guy? Where did he play at? And I was like, I played at Barton and blah, blah. They didn't know they didn't know what Barton was.
Right.
Because every other guys were coming from Auburn,
Right.
Alabama,
How major Division
Tulane,
I. Right.
And you drew their attention.
Right.
And so it taught me how to be humble, but it also gave me an understanding that you're going to have to put a time limit on this because there's so much work you got to do.
Yeah.
You're not even there yet.
Yeah.
When they fly in a kid from the CBA or somebody like Andre McCullough that played at Hillside, and he was in the CBA. They bring in an Andre McCullough, and Andre McCullough is lights out. He's playing at such a higher level than you're at.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And so it showed me
that
that
self-realization for real.
Yeah. So
which is so hard for a lot of players to like just on all levels. Like they just don't like it is levels, and then it's a really tough thing for players to. It's really a mental block in today's society for all players, to be honest with you.
Delaney told me, said, you got to keep working.
Yeah.
He said, because all you need, is 1 or 2 good workouts and you good. But then, the thing is, it's not like it is now. There wasn't a plethora of trainers.
Yeah.
You had to get in the gym with a friend. You had to train yourself.
You had to find a way to get in the gym.
Find a way, yeah. Like in Durham, you weren't gonna walk up in every gym.
Yeah.
You had to pay.
Yeah.
And if you trying to feed yourself and trying to, but I would come back to Wilson.
Yeah.
And playing in the leagues and I could go into OIC. I could even come into this gym. This is actually the gym I first started coaching in because I was coaching the Boys and Girls Club team as I was a student at Barton.
Wow.
And so, this gym brings back a lot of memories.
Full circle.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, USBL, Harlem Majestics, all that stuff, man, it was just you trying to get your foot in the door to get noticed.
Right.
And then you find yourself in the minor leagues and things of that nature, and you're like, okay, all right, what's next for me?
Yeah, 100%.
And that's how it was, because you got to be able to keep up what you're doing, and if you don't have that type of financial backing as a young man, it's different now.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that type of sponsorship, a financial backing coming out of college, you pretty much,
you got to make a decision.
You got to make a choice.
Yeah.
You got to make a choice. So my thing was to come back and just start playing. I was content with playing in the leagues, Chavis, North Carolina Pro-Am. I was content with playing in those leagues and starting. And Coach Levency was like, hey, you got a great basketball mind.
Yeah.
Why don't you start coaching?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's what led to it. We're going to go right into it. So when did you figure out coaching was your next calling? And then you spent several seasons at Riverside. And then, what did it mean to you to return to your roots to impact this kids from the same community that raised you?
Coach Strickland and Coach White. I love them two guys. They really had Riverside popping because they were winning. So it was great to go back to your high school and you winning.
Yeah.
And one of those players that was at Riverside at that time was Isaiah Reddish.
Okay. Yeah. I remember Isaiah.
And so I drove Isaiah Reddish from Durham to Barton. Took him in the office with Coach them. And we made a deal, you know. Yeah. But
Isaiah was tough.
But Riverside, I was, of course, the first class ever to graduate from Riverside. And I was one of the first athletes to sign an athletic scholarship from there. And so Riverside is really special to me. And, they have Coach Meshack right now that's there right now to carry on that tradition of just grit. If you played at Riverside, you could play at Barton.
Right.
And so many others. T.J. Warren was at Riverside for a certain amount of time.
Didn't Los play at Riverside? Famous Los?
Famous Los came down here. Famous Los, and he's gonna see this.
Right.
He was supposed to come to Barton.
Yeah.
But the guys got him drunk the night before the workout.
On the visit.
Yeah, on the visit.
Man.
Yeah. So Los was here.
Uh-huh.
And he was supposed to, sign with Barton, but he went and signed with I think Lincoln
Memorial. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to get those Riverside guys. Yeah. Justin Burton too.
Yeah.
And Justin Burton ended up at Winthrop. But I will always go back to Durham to try to get some of those guys, and I just lucked up when I got Reddish.
Yeah.
That's
tough. So talk about leading. So when did you coach the AAU program?
So I ended up coaching AAU. It was right before I started coaching at Barton because
So it was Riverside, then AAU.
It was Riverside and AAU at the same time.
At the same time, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you balance that, man, and talk about, that's a whole different world. People don't even realize it. I feel like it was better back then, though, because I feel like the kids had more of an appreciation of loyalty and, like, they really just wanted a hoop, and it was like, we here. But, like, now it's, it's the Wild Wild West now, man.
Nobody jumped ship on my first team.
Yeah.
I had players from Rocky Mount Senior High, Northern Nash, Riverside and Durham, Northern Durham, Bedingfield, Southern Nash, the guys from Spring Hope, and Mount Zion.
Yeah.
Nobody jumped ship on the team. Nobody. Everybody went, graduated, and became what they became.
That's dope.
And but once I started coaching at Barton, and then after the championship, I started coaching AAU again, and that was my son's group.
Yeah.
They were little. I started with them. They were in like third grade, and that's where I coached Jonas Adu, Bobby Pettiford, Ricky Council, Justin McCoy. I had all those guys as kids on my team. That's when the team hopping started.
That's when it got real.
Yeah, and I love all of you guys. But everybody was after. If you were talented, you could not compete.
And you're getting sought out by so many teams. Yeah, you can't compete. You can't compete.
Adidas, like.
I did it for 1 year. I had an all-star team in Team Power, and I had Josh Short and Jaden Pitt, and we had, Tamir Moore. We had a ton of talent, and I wanted to keep it going, man, but I was like, you know what? Nah, I got rid. COVID actually blessed me because we had a mob squad in 2019. COVID hit in 2020.
Oh yeah, you did because remember I had came over here and I was asking you about some of your players.
Yeah.
I was standing right there and I asked you, and you was like, yeah, I got this kid, and I got that kid, and then COVID hit.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
When COVID, it was crazy, but it was a blessing in itself because I couldn't come, like, when the Garner Rose come calling, like, it's just money that you can't deal with. And I, as a player, I can never tell a player not to put, if he can actually go and play on those teams, it's a prime opportunity. He has to go in this climate because you can no longer take an independent team and go to a Peach Jam or Adidas or Under Armour. It's not the same anymore. You used to be able to go to Florida, and all the coaches are down there. You might play a team and it might be 30 D3s, 30 D2s, a couple D1s mixed in there. But now, if you ain't there, you ain't getting recruited pretty much.
So in 2000, think around 2016, 2015, 16, I had took a team to, we had went to the AAU Nationals. We was in Orlando. And every team that was in the upper echelon of the bracket, we started moving into the Sweet 16 and started moving in teams from Kentucky and teams from Jersey and different places. And I started noticing that all of them had EYBL labels.
Right, on the jersey.
On their jersey.
Yeah.
So they was like, yeah, we're not even going to stay here the whole time.
Yeah.
And we like, no, we're going to stay. We're going to try to. We was like, well, good luck to you, we leaving. We going. And I was like, hold on, what is this?
Right.
So then I started researching it. And I said, okay, well, the money, I got sponsors. So let me try to get it. No, they're not going to let you in.
Yeah.
But some of them players
Right.
will take some of them. They can play on somebody else's team. And, hey, you're late because they're already talking to your parents.
Right.
They already have communicated. They already talked to your parents.
100%.
And you go to practice one
And
day.
they wave the Nike bag and the Nike shoes.
Yeah,
Kids,
it's
I
done.
gotta go.
It's a wrap.
And you gotta learn how to tailor your emotions and understand it. It's just what it is. So like the purity for me as a player that really loves the game and loves the development to watch kids, I was like, I have to step away from it personally because I have too much emotional attachment to the kids. Once I put my all into you, I mean, I gave them the best. They were sponsored. They was riding in vans, staying in Airbnbs. Taking them out to eat. They was laced with gear. But it's just like, I was also stressed behind the scenes on how I was paying for all of it.
And the thing is, when you see for instance, like a Jonas.
Yeah.
When you see him develop and he come up and then his body catches up with his skill set and he keeps working and he's able to go to a Tennessee and play on national TV and you sit back and you like, it was worth it. That's his journey.
100%.
And so my thing was, when you coach high school, you may not have a guy maybe 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
When you coach in college, you may have a guy, well now a
1
year. But then maybe 2.
Maybe 2, yeah.
Maybe 4 years.
Yeah. So
why as AAU coaches, we expect to have a kid from 3rd grade all the way to 12th grade.
Yeah, 100%.
It's only going to be a short amount of time. You put in what you can put in, but what you have to allow yourself to do is never sever a relationship with a young man.
Right.
Because I had a young man by the name of Trey Cruz that played at Barton the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He was at North Carolina A&T. He played for me for the crossovers when he was 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, and I think 7th grade. And after that, he played for other teams.
Yeah.
He played at Hillside, and I would always keep up with him, but I never broke that relationship with his parents with him.
I think that's super important, man. And people get so emotional and lose so much over. You may only be able to impact this kid in his life at this certain time. I used to be like that. I mean, I had to learn, kids leave.
Yeah.
You put your all into this kid, he just up and leave you like we got a big tournament this weekend. But like the older you get, you more like, okay, I impacted it. I put my all into that kid. Hopefully he takes something that I learned, that I taught him, and he moves forward with it. And then, I'm always here for you, whenever you need it. And I think more kids need that more than adults worrying about and getting so upset. Like, you got to wake up and go to work tomorrow, and you really letting this thing take over your mental health of this kid leaving and going and playing for somebody else. It's crazy.
I think because when you plugging into a kid from your community, you see the kids that don't make it.
Yeah.
And you know that basketball is a tool, it's an avenue for some kids to just have a different life. And that's when you're putting into them, you're not just shooting jump shots.
Right.
You keeping them alive.
Right.
You're not just dribbling the ball. You're making sure that they stay focused in their classes. And so to see a kid, you want to see the results
Right.
of all of the
time
hours and the time that you put into them. But sometimes, you plant the seed, you make the flower bed, and then somebody else waters it. Somebody else gets the first harvest.
Yeah.
That's just how the game is. But as long as you treat those players, and those kids with the utmost, respect and love, they're always gonna come back and show love. And
100%.
I think that's what kind of I get right now.
Yeah.
I get a lot of love from a lot of different places. If I got haters, I don't really know them.
Right.
Because I got too much love around me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's a blessing, man. That's a blessing. So talk about how all the experiences from the high school gyms to the college sidelines, prepare you for your longest stint at Barton.
Oh man. Like I said, Coach Levacy and Coach Zimmerman, and then you don't want to leave that place.
Yeah.
When you walk in the gym and nobody's in there, you can still hear your sneakers squeaking.
Mm-hmm.
You walk in that locker room, the locker room is still the same, and you see your locker. Mm-hmm. For no amount of money, you don't want to leave that type of situation. Coach Levacy made it so it was competitive, but as a coach, it was just so much respect and admiration. Sometimes, they had so much work to do on campus that I was the only one out in the community. I was the only one out recruiting. They were only able to go recruit some of the time, and, they were able to go to some JUCOs and go here to go there, but I was out there all the time. It was not for me to leave my house. I would be home and I'd be like, hey man, they playing over here,
Right.
And I would just leave and go. And guys like you, and hey, I got this kid, and so, I think that just being able to have an open door policy to ask Coach Levacy questions, because every coach is not even accessible to all their assistant coaches.
I agree.
They're not open.
Yeah, I've seen how cruel that
they're
assistant
not
coach
open,
life
but
can be.
Man, let me tell you, like Coach Levacy really spoiled me, man.
Right.
I don't know what it is about me that he put so much time and he taught me so many things. So I can't work around coaches that are, abusive, self-centered, and things of that nature. Egotistical. Just you win at all costs.
Right.
I can't work for people like that.
Yeah.
I have to work for somebody who wants to build young men. And build them.
And cares.
And
because
cares.
that's a big thing in college basketball.
What?
Firsthand, I've noticed, it's the business. But it's just, I just don't. I don't understand why some coaches, I get you in the hot seat, you got a family, but you don't think if you actually took the time to get to know your players or to get to, to talk to your players, do you not know as 18-year-old men the stress levels that we dealing with being away from our families, slaving for you 3 times a day, but not, we growing up as young men, but you cursing me out in practice like crazy, over small stuff. And then to the point where I feel like my coaches didn't even like me. And it's I'm a kid. You know what I mean?
Man, some coaches, they like John Gotti, man.
Yeah.
They, from their plays to the nuances of how they run their program, you have to fit in that and you have to labor in that as a player and as a coach. I've seen some coaches, talk to the assistants the same way they talk to the players.
I've seen that too.
And I've seen it, as a, going into a gym as an opponent. And you have, assistant coaches that come to you and they be like, Pounds, do your coach? I'm like, nah, not at all.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, and so Barton, the community, man, it's Wilson, man, like the community just embraced me. And so I got interviewed for other jobs and I went to other places, but Coach Levacy and Coach Zim made it so easy to be a good coach. It made it, and so a lot of times I could have left Barton probably about 3 or 4 years prior to the time that I left, but I didn't leave because I actually wanted to stay with Coach Levacy until he retired. And so I missed it by a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I missed it by a year.
They were going on for that for like 6 years. It's gonna be next year. It's gonna be next year.
Yeah. And I was like,
that NIL got them up out of there.
That NIL, man. Look.
All the old heads left, man.
Look, I was wondering, like, I was seeing, Coach K retire, right? Yeah. Now that's Power 5.
Yeah.
That's the gold standard, right?
Yeah.
I said, he don't left. I was like, okay.
Roy get up
All
out
right,
of there.
then Roy done left.
Yeah.
Then I seen some other ones, and I said,
yeah. I saw Boeheim left.
Yeah. Then I went to Coach. I said, Coach Levacy. I said, now. I said, Coach K done hung him up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is your plan? You
Right.
know? He's like, what is your plan? And he looked at me straight in my face, said, man, I got a couple of years, man.
Yeah.
He said, if we got to win with less, we going to win with less.
Yeah.
And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And I believed it.
Yeah.
We still won.
Yeah.
We was right there in the mix.
Yeah.
But UNC Pembroke,
Yeah.
with all their NIL money,
has figured it out.
They
figured it out.
You couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
You couldn't beat them. They just, they
tough.
had too much talent.
Yeah.
You game plan against their top talent, and now their bench is scorching you.
Yeah.
So you sitting back like, wow. Then the next thing you know, Emmanuel's doing the same.
Yeah.
And you like, okay, now Emmanuel's doing this.
Yeah.
Now Young Harris is doing this. And you sitting back like, okay. So somebody, alumni.
Yeah, somebody got to come with some bread.
Somebody with deep pockets.
Yeah.
Barton needs some NIL money for the basketball team.
Yeah. That's
Hey, look, the president probably gonna say, Pounds, go give me a call. We're working on it, Pounds. Yeah. And Dr. Searcy, he helped make that, environment. And Todd, who's over at USC Aiken, and Dexter, we had, great athletic directors, great president. And like I said, the open door policy, you go to other schools, you don't even have access to the hierarchy of the school where they would sit down and ask you your opinion, what you think, how can we make the school better. We have that and had that at Barton, and so that's kind of what kept me around, because I've seen what go on in other places. I have a lot of friends that are college coaches, and then traveling with my daughter, watching her go through the recruiting process on the women's side, it made me appreciate what I had at home.
Right.
And so, man.
So, obviously, you're a part of Barton as a player and a coach. What was the biggest difference between being a young player back then and the coach that you were?
The big difference was that you don't have the pressure on you to perform at the drop of a dime.
For sure.
If coach say cut the baseline off and the dude is quick and faster than you, and he can get around you either way, you don't have that pressure on you. You're putting the pressure on the player to institute your game plan. And so, but the competitiveness does not leave. It's the same level of competitiveness as a coach and a player. You're channeling that competitiveness in a different way, for the betterment of the player, I guess. I guess. Yeah.
So I think I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's the one moment or success story from Barton that still brings you joy when you think back on it?
Oh, my God. seeing Jeff Dawsey throw that shirt on top of the Wyoming Estates player's head right after Ant made the layup. I love that moment.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jeff just takes his shirt off and his jersey and just throws it, and it lands on one of the most mouthiest players for Wyoming State, you know, and that was one of the most joyous moments of my time because we wasn't expected to get that far.
Yeah.
You know, Ant scoring really 3 buzzer beaters.
Yeah.
On the way to the grand finale. That's just
being there firsthand had to be crazy.
I mean,
what was going through your mind on the bench when you was down? Did you have some doubt? Honestly, I need your real opinion.
All right, so
because we were watching it as kids. I'm like, yeah, it's a wrap.
So Wyoming State fans were over by the trophies. They had like this section down on their end behind their goal. Mm-hmm. They was down there doing the electric slide. And I was sitting back like, okay, what are we gonna say to them when they get in the locker room?
Right.
You know, and I'm like, but we here. So we need to talk about, you know, hey man, we made it here. We didn't win it, but we made it here. But then I was like, nah, man, we still got a little bit of time. So let's see what happens. And Frail steals the ball and Ant gets an and one. I mean, you just stuck in that moment watching a performance.
Yeah.
And
ain't nothing. The players won that game. Ain't nothing as a coach.
Yeah,
you can do it.
I mean,
you a fan at this point.
Listen, every coach got players. I hope you got a couple of players or a player where you like, look, I'm not drawing nothing up. Go get a bucket.
Right.
Go get a stop.
Right.
You already know our principles. You know how we do things. You guys already played it. Go get a bucket. That was that moment. Not just one bucket, a couple of buckets.
Right. Right.
That's just.
At what point did you know? All right, we're gonna win this thing.
You didn't.
No, none of that. Like even when it got down to like 2, did it turn like in your mind like, all right, it's a wrap now because this boy he's cooking now.
You seen Wyoming State getting shaky.
Yeah. And
you was like, oh, y'all shaky now.
Yeah.
You know when you see a team, they breathing hard. You know, they can't pass the ball right. You know, they can't hit free throws.
Yeah.
You sit back like, oh yeah, you shaky right now.
Yeah.
Let's see what's gonna happen.
Right.
But Ant smelled blood.
Yeah, he did.
and after he, you know, did his little reverse layup, the crazy reverse layup from one basket to the next, you sitting back like, what else is he gonna do?
Right.
Come on, man. Bobby Buffalo back tipping the ball.
Yeah.
Like Bobby was about getting a bucket. Like him doing something so selfless.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And he one of my favorite players. Like Bobby was that dude. Like he wanted to get a bucket. He said, hey, let me do my thing. That's what he used to tell us. Tell Coach Lee to let me do my thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so for him to run and give it his all just to back tip somebody. Yeah. And for it to land in Ant's hands. Yeah. We did not know we were gonna win that game till after the game was won. Yeah. Yeah. Ant might have been still believing. But we just watched him do something like he deserved so much credit. Yeah. You know, his jersey is supposed to be retired. Yeah. In my mind. Yeah. I don't care what nobody thinks. Right. His jersey is supposed to be in that gym retired. Nobody else is supposed to wear number 11 at all.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. So you're now stepping into your newest chapter as head coach at Triangle Math and Science Academy. How did this opportunity come about, and what made you transition from college to high school basketball?
Wow. So, man, like I was telling you on the phone before I got here, and you told me to hold up. I think that, you know, losing my grandmother, who put a lot into me, and then losing my father last year, during the time I was at Lincoln University with head coach Julius Hodge, I think that took a little toll on me. The CIAA is not for the weak. You have to be, strong and efficient. So I gave Lincoln everything I had, and the players, they, I talk to them on social media and some of them on the phone to this day, and and they, be checking on me. They know I gave them everything I had, being a new coach in a new place.
Yeah.
So, then I come back to North Carolina and I'm at Davis and Davie.
Yeah.
And that's where Nigel Howard is now, Coach Charles Howard's son. So I was able to bring in some recruits, and I had applied for the job because I just said I didn't want to be an assistant no more. I had been an assistant at the college level for 22 years.
Wow.
And
was it let me stop you. Was it a dream to be the head coach? Because some people really like being the assistants. I do know assistants out there that don't care to be in the limelight and have all the pressure on their shoulders.
Well, I think my dream started because a lot of head coaches were telling me I was a head coach and that I should try to pursue it. And I believed it.
Yeah.
And I believe it, and so, and understanding the game at a higher level. But I think that, coming back from Lincoln, I think that I was kind of wounded a little bit because I had lost, a parent, and I had lost my grandmother. So I just kind of getting back on the horse again and falling back in love with the game because the players at Triangle Math and Science of Apex, there are a lot of foreign kids, and they have this joy of being coached.
Yeah.
And you sitting back like, what?
Yeah.
You ain't just getting joy from scoring. You ain't just getting joy from
what comes with it.
For what comes with it.
Yeah.
You're not worried about the J's and the type of sweatsuit we got.
Yeah.
You just want to be coached.
Yeah.
And they'll run through a wall for you, and I'm using the same philosophy that Coach Levacy used because I'm one of his proteges. So so I'm coaching that way, but with a little bit of flavor.
With some swag.
Yeah. Can't get that's coaching with the swag.
Right.
And I'm getting such a good response to where we're just in preseason workouts.
Yeah.
And I got 60 kids in the gym. And and like I said, a lot of them are foreign kids. We got some, African American kids. We got white kids. We got America on the court at that school. And there's so much room for growth.
Right.
There's so much room for success, but they don't even know the half yet. They're babies in this.
Right.
And so the thing is now, another high school coach told me, said, when you coach high school guys, because I asked him, I said, look, I'm going to call and talk to Aunt too about it. I said, okay, what were some of the first things that you did? And one of the high school coach, Meshack, says, Pounds, act like they don't know anything about basketball.
Right.
He said, teach them from the ground up.
Yeah.
He said, and then gradually bring them along the way. He said, from your culture to their skill sets, to even teaching them how to be brothers. He said, you got to start from the ground up. He said, college, you expect the kids come into college and they see what the program is. And they have to get up in there and make it.
Yeah, got to conform to it.
Now you're developing it from the ground up.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm dealing with right now. And it's so nourishing.
Yeah.
It's so it's therapeutic, and it just gives you your drive back.
Right.
So I'm getting I'm learning, and nobody would ever be able to say, hey, you've been associate head coach, you've been assistant coach, you've been this or that, you've never been a head coach. We won't be able to say that anymore.
Right.
So
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So
for some reason AAU don't count.
What? It's what? Coaching?
As a head coach.
No, it don't count.
It don't count.
I don't know. I don't think it counts. unless you're in an official school. So I don't know.
Yeah. It don't count. It don't count.
So we talked about this a little bit earlier, man. You're also a proud father of 3, Christian, Madison, and Kennedy. Ooh. How has fatherhood shaped your leadership style and perspective on life?
Oh, man. Boy. Fatherhood is one of the greatest gifts that God can give a man, because your kids, you're trying to teach them, but they would teach you so many things. And, you know, my son is like my best friend. My daughters are like, sometimes I think I'm talking to my mom, you know, and my mom is like an angel, you know. She is just so nourishing. And so my daughters have, you know, especially after, you know, their mother passed, my daughters are so strong and resilient that I keep going because they kept going. You know, and so, and, you know, my son and their daughters, they're tight. You know, they're not at each other's throat. You know, they really piggyback off of each other. And, you know, I raised them that way, but, you know, it basically, how you treat your family in your home, it sprouts out to the community. And to see, you know, all of my kids being pillars in the community and just exemplifying what we do at home, you know, it's just most definitely like, it's a blessing that's unimaginable. Like I can't put it in, I fight to put it into words. But it just gives me chills because, you know, I'm hard on myself and I'm like, man, do I deserve kids like this? You know? And I got some great children.
How does dealing with the mental health side as a man, as a black man, with the loss of so many close people around you, how do you keep yourself strong through that without turning left or picking up bad habits? And I'm sure you probably went through some things, you know, but like
I did.
How do you keep yourself, and because your energy is pure, I can feel energy, you know what I mean? And how do you keep that? How do you keep that going? How do you keep that love still there with everything that you've been through?
So my thing is that nobody ever gave up on me, so I'm not gonna give up on somebody else. And you have to have faith. You know, I am an ordained minister, and but I had faith before I was even called a minister. And you know, my faith is, you know, is in the Lord, and I make sure I stay prayerful. I have a prayer life, and I make sure I do charity. So at some of the toughest times in my life, I went and fed somebody who didn't have food.
Wow.
I took my kids.
I like that.
To do that. So when we were struggling, we went to help somebody else.
I like that.
And then we were able to love on each other because we loved on somebody else.
Right.
So we put that type of spirit in the environment. And so that's kind of how my grandmother Ruth raised me, you know, all of us. She always said, you're blessed. Somebody else is doing worse than what you're doing, you know. And she said, you know, and you special. So I always, you know, anybody I come in contact with, you know, they're here for a reason. They have a purpose. Nobody is throwaway. And so you take that into basketball because I can't throw the last guy on the bench away.
Right.
I got to love on him because he might be that next coach.
Yeah.
Or
next businessman.
Or I can destroy him.
Right.
And then he's going to beat up his wife. He's going to abuse his kids. He's going to go out and end up shooting somebody. Because he's putting his all into this game. So I just take a personal interest in every person that I come in contact with, no matter who it is. And that's why, you know, like Ant and various ones, you know, we all are close. because God just put that love in me where I just love people.
Yeah.
And I just always been that way.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about me. I'm just gonna go hard to help people.
Yeah.
And
that's what my dad always says that, man. No matter how much money you make, no matter how many properties you own, businesses you own, your legacy is what you've done for other people. And that's people are gonna remember you by when you're gone. And it's deep. It's real.
My daughter is playing D1 today.
Yeah.
Because we actually stand on the backs of people that had the same heart we had.
Mm-hmm.
And several young ladies from the area, because Maddie was playing over here, because they knew Maddie, and they knew Maddie loved them and cared about them as a teammate. They went and played with her, and now they are playing at East Carolina and this place and that place, because the talent was there.
Right.
And so it's just that type of, we need more of that, a sense of community. That's what, a lot of communities all over the United States are missing. 100%. Everybody just out for self. And when you run into a person that is selfless and want the best, some of those people get used.
Yeah.
They get used. They take their charity and just do whatever with it. But then you have those people like myself. I've done so much charity, and I've worked with so many people that, I'm not going to worry about those ones that are out for personal gain.
Yeah.
And they use your charity to take steps up.
Yeah.
I don't worry about those people. Because there's too many other people that need, my help and my assistance. And so that's what I do. God ordains people to have those types of
gifts. It's a gift.
Yeah.
That's a gift, for sure.
Yeah.
So you just talked about it, but your daughter is now playing at Hofstra University. Congratulations as a parent first and a coach. That's a blessing. That's not easy. That's you don't see a lot of kids, be able to make it to that level, man. What is it like watching her follow in your footsteps playing collegiate basketball? And how do you support her as a dad versus criticizing her as a coach?
Whoa. Me and my daughter, we had our rough spat, and I stepped back, and being an intelligent dad, and listening to my mom and my sister, give me the female perspective of things, I said, okay, let me take a step back, be the father, be dad, be supportive, but not be Coach Pounds.
Right.
Because she wasn't going to listen in anything I had to say. And so I took her to Competitive Edge. Yeah. Should have brought her over here with you too. But I was living in Rocky Mount, and I took her to Competitive Edge, and Miles started training her, and Coach T and Montrezl Harrell, they basically rolled out the red carpet for her. And, and Julius Hodge's daughter, Michaela, she was coming out there working out too. And I started noticing that some of the things I was explaining to her and asking her to do, she wanted to do those things, but her skill level was being developed to the point where she could do those things. Yeah. And as I watched her grow and showed my appreciation for that, and a lot of times when we got in the car, I said nothing about her game.
Was that tough?
Yes. Yes, Cause what you do is you turn
I
on.
seen when you was going right, you could have or you wasn't in the gap.
I started listening to Kendrick Lamar because I ain't want to say nothing.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And I heard the song and I heard some of his songs in the gym. So I turned on Kendrick and I'm like, okay, I like this. Because I can't say nothing. Madison would get in the car because AAU is grueling. Travel ball is grueling. They were playing in everything.
Yeah.
Coach Cox had them playing in everything with Carolina All-Stars. And I was just bringing him players. The same recruiting that I'm known for, I was doing that, bringing him players. I might have some high school coaches mad at me because, they end up playing at North Carolina good, better, best. But I wanted to see, I saw Maddie beginning to get recruited. Yeah. And I seen a formula, so I was like, oh man, I'm not in women's basketball. Right. I'm in men's basketball. And it's becoming equal, but it's not yet equal yet as far as how it works. Mm-hmm. And so I seen a formula that worked. And so I was like, hey, I start talking to this kid and start talking to this parent, start talking to that parent. And some parents said, how did Maddie, get on that platform? Right. And when you walk in the gym, when she played at Wilson Prep, the fans, the school, if Maddie could have played at Wilson Prep all 4 years, that would have been the most classic place for a high school student to play. Right. But because the game and how the road to D1 has changed, and I was seeing Coach Cox go play, and there were nothing but college coaches in the gym. We went to DC, and it was college coaches lined up. All around the gym. Yeah. There were more coaches in the gym than parents. Right. And I said, okay. Yeah. This where you gotta do what's best for your child. So you let as a parents that are coaches, let the coach that's in your child's life at that time coach them. Mm-hmm. You be the parent and don't use parenthood to influence or infiltrate your child's moments, because they gotta have those moments where they say, this coach is putting pressure on me, I can't do what they're asking, and you have to look at them as a parent and tell them, yes, you can. Right. You're just not trying hard enough. Figure it out. I'm spending this money, putting this gas, paying for these tournaments, paying for these hotels, paying the AAU team. Yeah. I'm spending this money, figure it out. Right. Right? And then when you see them figure it out and they cross that barrier, you're gonna get a well-rounded human being.
I was about to say that, and I feel like life after is you're teaching kids, some parents, that it's okay to not face adversity and go through adversity to figure out how to get across that barrier. So when they get grown or basketball stops, then when you hit adversity, then what? Now quitting job here, quitting job here, quitting job here, and you don't have the characteristics, you don't have the charisma, the will, want to get through that wall. You know what I mean? When life hits you. Yep. And but yes, I agree with that. I think.
And so now Madison, she'll call me after a game. Yeah. And she knows the game on my level now. Yeah. So now she really values my opinion, and I can say what I need to say to her and realize, I'm never criticizing. Yeah. We're looking for solutions.
Yeah. Because we here now because we speak to college, but when you were here and I was here, you were developing more as a child. So I need my dad.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Madison's coach, Coach Santos, thinks so much of Madison and thought so much of me. She wanted Madison to understand that being a freshman and getting on the floor, you've already basically won half the battle.
Yeah, for sure.
To get on the floor with grad transfers and upperclassmen, because you're really a high school kid playing on a college floor.
Right.
You're not a college player yet.
Yeah.
You're developing into that. And Maddie helped them win games last year. And Maddie was a pillar in their practices and things of that nature. So to see her make it through her freshman year, not jump in the portal, stay rooted and grounded, you know, and to be to make, you know, the dean's list, and to be proud and knowing that, hey, getting this work, going in here working hard, this is what it's about. And I'm happy that I got the work. You know, a lot of kids not happy that they got the work to do. They don't want the work. And so, but she's proud that she has the work. The work is being given to her. That you gotta, you know, you gotta work and perform at this level. And so now, like, when she came home this summer, she was like, Dad, come on, let's get to the gym. Help me work on my layup package. So we in the gym working on a layup package, and you walk out the gym and you like, man, you know, I had to wait. But it's worth it. It's worth it. And so, you know, and I talk to a lot of parents, and they just don't get it. They don't get it, and they stifle their child at an early age because they don't get that part of it right there. You know, let these coaches coach them. You know, I mean, you got some coaches that shouldn't be coaching. You know, and you get that. But sometimes you got to go through that coach that shouldn't be coaching to get to the coach that you should be with. And that's what you need to be thinking about, because there's so many good programs now. It's, you know, your trainer could be that person that builds you for that next coach. You get what I'm saying? And so you might have a middle school coach or a high school coach that, you know, they got the job maybe because they're their math teacher. Right. You know, the school didn't have the budget to go out and hire, you know, a former player. And some principals just don't want certain pillars of the community that have played, because now they're the face of the school. So you got that type of politicking going on, and our kids face that. So they need guys like you that have facilities where you're not just teaching them the game, you're putting into their spirit, you're putting into their work ethic, you plugging into them, and so that's why they come to you, because they're missing that on the outside, and then you get them ready, and now they can play for, you know, a Coach K, or they can play for, you know, a Santos, they can play for somebody because you built them, you've helped build them, and so that's kind of, you know, hey, that's just my philosophy on it, man.
I agree. All right, last question, man. We're going to switch over and have some fun. So we got two questions. Give me your Mount Rushmore coaches of all time. So 4. It can be NBA and college, whatever you want.
All right, my Mount Rushmore?
Your Mount Rushmore.
Wow. My favorite coach, and I got to put him up there, is John Thompson.
Okay.
I'm putting John Thompson first for selfish reasons, but he was the guy.
Yeah, he was.
Coach K.
Okay.
Pat Riley.
Okay, you like Pat?
Yeah.
Pat was crazy, but he's tough.
Yeah.
He was tough. Yeah.
Pat Riley.
Okay.
And LaVelle Moton, man.
I like that.
LaVelle Moton. I can't, you know, if you gave me, you said top 4, right?
Yeah, it's 4.
If you gave me a top 5, you gave me a top 10, you gave me a top 3, I'm going to have to slide LaVelle Moton in there.
I like that.
You know, because I experienced him, and I experienced what he does. And I, you know, it's just amazing. And I'm just surprised that he's not at a Power 5 right now. Central has a blessing.
Yeah.
And they know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, now give me your all-time NBA starting 5. no position, whatever you want. Don't go off the status quo of, okay.
Number 1, Jordan.
Yeah.
Number 2, LeBron.
Okay.
3, Kobe.
Okay.
4, Curry.
Curry? I like it.
I get how many?
You got one more.
Only person that's popping in my mind is Shaq. No. Olajuwon.
Olajuwon?
I got to put Olajuwon over Shaq. I got to, because when Olajuwon was in his prime, he served Shaq up.
Yeah.
He gave him dinner.
Oh.
Everything he wanted to eat, he gave it to him.
Yeah, I know he was tough. He was definitely tough.
So that's mine right there. And see, now people gonna be
I don't know. No, that was a very solid fight. I thought if you went Shaq, I saw Allen Iverson on Stephen A. Smith's podcast, and he had that same exact lineup, but Shaq at the end.
Yeah. And see, he's mentioned Allen Iverson, and I was torn between saying, taking LeBron out the whole thing and putting AI in there with Kobe and all of them, but come on, man, LeBron James, LeBron like 48,
yeah,
and still, so like, I'm not gonna hate on him. And then he raises kids to play.
Yeah,
he got a son in the league. No matter what people say or think, he has a son in the league. I don't care how you think he got there, but if you notice, there's a trend.
Yeah.
Okay? Dion was in the league. His boys is in the league. Mm-hmm. LeBron is in the league. So now we're getting to a sector in society where you can pass down the game. Mm-hmm. Most people can pass down a business. Mm-hmm. You can pass down an inheritance. But when you can pass down a skill set, like basketball, you know how hard that is?
For sure.
So King James doing his thing, he doing his thing. He's outspoken, and I'm a Laker fan. So
yeah, me too. I was a Kobe Bryant fan.
My goodness, man.
That day crushed me, man. But since then I haven't really been like, I just kind of watched the league. And I had I'm a Lakers fan underneath, but it's just like, it's not the same feel as when I was growing up with the Lakers. Because guys were so loyal back then, and now it's just like I just kind of watch. I watch for like moves and stuff now, because the NBA, I don't think
I'm not rushing home. Like, if Kobe was playing tonight, I would be like, "Hey man, we gotta cut this interview short."
100%.
And you'd be like, "Yeah, I gotta get out of here. Kobe finna play."
Yeah.
I'm not doing that right now. I don't run home to see LeBron play.
Yeah.
But he is a great player. He is amazing. He tough.
Yeah, he is.
He tough.
Anything else you want to say to the people before you get out of here?
Hey, just want to tell everybody, I know you've seen it. I just got engaged.
Yes, sir.
Just want to tell everybody, thank you for your support and all your calls and different congratulations and stuff. And I'm gonna be out here trying to help people and trying to do what I do. And I love everybody and thank you.
Yes, sir. Always.
Yeah. Oh, and I got to mention Primetime Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, L. Ellis Primetime Sports. What's up, man? Yeah, I knew y'all would probably get on my case if I didn't mention them. Yeah. Come down here and work with this guy.
For sure.
Come down here and work with this guy. We're trying to get these kids in college. Yeah. I call us the Underground Railroad.
Oh, I like that.
Of basketball.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We don't want to lose none of our passengers.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching another episode of the Courtside Culture. Make sure you follow us on all social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel @PowerTVNC. And we'll see you next time on the next episode.